Today's lesson is Trapped by Algorithms. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today our title is a little interesting here. It's actually a question. Are we trapped by algorithms? Algorithm, of course, is some kind of computer commands or something in a computer that gives you the information that they think that you would be interested in, okay? So if you watch certain kinds of videos on YouTube, for example, it remembers what you watched and then it recommends other similar videos. This happens in a lot of different situations. But are we trapped by those algorithms? Are we prisoners?
Yeah, you might notice, of course, when you're using your phone, especially with social media, things like Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, if you watch a certain type of video, then you might get fed other videos like that in your feed, in that sort of recommended list of videos that you might be interested in. So the computer is using these algorithms, complicated computer formulas that basically allow the computer to think in a very basic way. If you like this, then you might like that. It's not really thinking. It's more like a flow chart or a process or a formula or something like that. But basically, the computer has been programmed with all of this basic thinking process that allows it to recommend videos or products or whatever to users, to customers, to viewers in order to get you to spend more money, to spend more time watching things, and just to engage in this program, this app, this software, whatever it is you're using. So a lot of the times, the things that we're looking at are not necessarily the things we want to look at, but the things that the computer thinks we want to look at. And of course, there can obviously be problems there when, of course, the people using the machines aren't interested in the things that the algorithms are recommending to them.
Okay, so let's find out what this is all about. Let's listen to the introductory paragraph right now, and we'll be back to talk about it.
Trapped by algorithms? There's a huge amount of content on social media, and yet your feed always seems to be full of things that you're interested in. How do social media platforms achieve this? In short, they do it by using highly complex algorithms.
Okay, I suspect that most of us are involved with social media quite a bit. We're checking out various web platforms on our phones like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. So if you're on social media, you will notice that there's a huge amount of content on social media. There's so much stuff to look at that you'll probably never be able to look at it all.
Yes, absolutely right, as it says there in that first sentence. And yet, your feed always seems to be full of things that you're interested in. That's true. You can spend hours on social media and you never sort of run out of things to look at. Your feed, that sort of list of items that you might be interested in, it's kind of like a menu or a playlist or something like that. It always seems to be full of things that you're interested in. If you've watched 100 videos about woodworking, well, they'll find another 100 videos about woodworking for you. They never run out of things to show you on basically topics that you've shown an interest in before. So here's the big question. How do social media platforms achieve this? How do they do this? If Roger told me that he liked to read a certain type of book or listen to a certain type of music, I could probably give him a few recommendations, but I couldn't give him hundreds and hundreds for hours and hours. So yeah, obviously these programs are using very high level, very sophisticated ways of researching things, finding out things, and recommending things to you. So in short, they do it by using highly complex algorithms. So that's the basic answer to how these social media platforms continually give things you might be interested in. How are they doing it? Highly complex algorithms. In other words, complicated computational formulas and things like that.
Indeed, and we'll talk about what algorithms are in just a couple of seconds. So let's move on now to the next paragraph and try to define this term.
An algorithm is essentially a set of instructions that a computer program follows. For example, in a basic calculation program, the algorithm might take two numbers as inputs, add them together, and produce the total as the output. Social media algorithms, however, are much more complex than this. They take all sorts of data, such as your location, your likes, your viewing times, etc., and use this information to decide what to show you next.
大家好，第二部分介绍副词 essentially， 意思是基本上或是本质上、根本上。例如 These two cars are essentially the same. 这两台车基本上是一样的。或者 All of that director's movies have essentially the same cast. 那位导演的所有电影基本上都是相同的演员阵容。下一个看到名词 calculation 表示计算结果或是运算。例如 We did a calculation to see how much money we'd need for the work. 我们计算了一下这项工作需要多少钱。或是 My calculations were wrong. The vacation will cost me more money than I had thought. 我的计算错了，假期会花的钱将比我之前想的还多。另外补充这个字的动词 calculate C-A-L-C-U-L-A-T-E calculate 表示计算。可以说 At the end of each month, Rex calculates how much money he's spent. 每个月月底 Rex 都会计算他花了多少钱。另一个例子 I've calculated the cost of traveling to Europe, and I think we can afford it. 我已经计算了去欧洲旅行的费用，我想我们负担得起。下一个看到名词 input 指资讯的输入值。例如 The computer is ready to accept input. 那台电脑可以接受输入讯息了。也可以说 You'll have to type your name again because the system didn't register your input the first time. 你得重打你的名字，因为系统第一次没有登记你的输入。再来介绍名词 output 表示能源或资料的输出值。可以说 The computer's output was saved to a file for later analysis. 该电脑的输出数据被保存到一个档案中，以便后续分析。
Okay, so the question is, what is an algorithm? And I've had to explain this before, and I must admit that when I look up the definition in the dictionary, it is so complicated, it is so hard to explain. I can't possibly explain it using the words from the dictionary. It'll just confuse you all. But basically, we're going to give you a definition here in our lesson. It is essentially a set of instructions that a computer program follows, okay? Basically, yes, it's some kind of computer program. It's some instructions for the computer or for your web browser, and the computer follows those instructions. The computer does what it's told. Basically, it helps you find content that you're interested in. Like, for example, a couple of months ago, I was very interested in an American female basketball player by the name of Caitlin Clark. So I watched some of her videos, and now I get all these suggestions for other videos about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA and stuff like that.
Exactly right. Even if you're not that interested in everything that they show you, they will continue to show you things like that. So how does an algorithm work? Well, it's basically, as we said, a bunch of instructions that a computer program follows. For example, it says in a basic calculation program, so in a basic sort of math program that's doing calculation, adding and subtracting and multiplying numbers, that's calculation, basic math. The algorithm might take two numbers as inputs, add them together, and produce the total as the output. That's basically the program. That's basically what this item of software, this program, has been instructed to do. It will take two numbers as inputs. An input is something you put into a process, and then it will add those numbers together. So let's say we have the numbers 2 and the number 3. We'll add those together and then produce the total as the output. The output would be 5. And then if I put in 6 and 1 as the inputs, the output would, of course, then be 7. So that's basically all it's doing. It's just following my instructions as the programmer. I'm telling it what to do, and it is producing that. It is doing that task over and over and over again with whatever input I put in, with whatever information I put into the computer. It will produce this output. It will produce this new information based on the instructions of the algorithm that it is following again and again without fail all the time.
Yep, it's a calculation program. Of course, to calculate just basically means to do mathematics, to add things together, to subtract, to divide, to multiply, etc. And this reminds me of the calculators that we have sometimes if we want to add up numbers quickly instead of using our phones, although our phones do have apps for that nowadays. And yes, when you put information in first, that's the input, and then the answer you get is the output. Now, social media algorithms, however, are much more complex than this. You could say complex or complex. I think both pronunciations are acceptable. And yes, indeed, we talked about a very simple algorithm there. Just add two numbers together and you get your answer. But social media ones, of course, have to be more complicated. They're more complex than this because there's a lot more going on.
Absolutely right. So it's like a very complicated calculation program. So what sort of inputs are they looking at to give you an output? It says these social media algorithms, take all sorts of data, such as your location, your likes, your viewing times, etc., and use this information to decide what to show you next. So they're basically kind of observing you and how you use whatever social media platform the algorithm is operating on. They know things about you, where you are, your location, your likes, based on the things that you've liked in the Facebook kind of way, like by giving it that thumbs up thing. I like this sports team. I like this movie star. I like this magazine or whatever it is. And then your viewing times. If you're the kind of person who likes to sit there and watch 30 or 60-minute videos as a form of evening's entertainment, then it'll probably give you more long-form videos. Or if you're the kind of person who likes to watch short videos while you brush your teeth or wash the dishes, it'll give you the shorter length of videos. They'll also look at your age, your gender, your political interests, anything that you've shown interest in or any information you've put into your social media platform, they will use that. They will crunch all of that data, and they will use all of this information to decide what to show you next or to decide what to put in your feed, assuming through all of this data that you will be interested in watching it.
Right, and they don't do that forever. If you stop watching videos or whatever about the topic you're interested in, somehow the algorithm knows that you've lost interest in that, and then they start giving you different kinds of recommendations. Okay, we're at the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Here comes the third and final part.
The aim, of course, is to keep you engaged so that you do not leave the site. Algorithms are useful for you as well, as they save you from spending lots of time searching for content that might be of interest. However, there is a dark side to social media algorithms. They can create echo chambers in which you're repeatedly exposed to similar viewpoints.
第三部分看到名词 chamber， 它的意思是具特殊用途的室、厅或是房间，也可以是大会议室的意思。例如The captured spy was kept in the chamber for questioning. 遭到逮捕的间谍被留置在一个房间里接受盘问。再看一个例子 The prince's chamber was decorated with beautiful paintings. 王子的房间里装饰着美丽的画作。继续介绍动词 expose， 指使接触到……使遭受……也可以是使暴露于……的意思。举例来说Parents should expose their children to a variety of learning experiences. 父母应该让孩子接触各种学习经验。或是 When the floodwater receded, the damage left behind was exposed. 洪水退去时，所留下的破坏也露了出来。最后看到名词 viewpoint， 表示观点、看法、角度，也可以是观察点或是视角的意思。我们可以说We need to consider the issue from multiple viewpoints before making a decision. 我们在做决定之前，需要从多个角度考虑这个问题。最后一个例子 From a legal viewpoint, the contract is binding and cannot be changed. 从法律的角度来看，这份合约具有约束力，不能更改。
Okay, so why do we have these algorithms? Well, the aim, of course, the goal of those algorithms is to keep you engaged so that you do not leave the site. And to keep one engaged just means to keep them busy, to keep them interested. They just want to keep you there because if you stay there, you'll be able to read the advertisements or whatever, or maybe order products from their sponsors or whatever. It's all about making money.
Exactly right. And often, as Roger explained, that money is made through advertising. And of course, the more the social media platform, the average user is on here for 45 minutes, or the average user is on here for 2 hours, the longer they can keep your eyeballs kind of glued to their screens, the more they can charge the advertisers and other things like that. So the goal is to keep you engaged. It's to basically to make sure that you're spending as much time as possible on their social media platform, watching their videos, engaging engaging with what they are giving to you or showing to you. It says algorithms are useful for you as well, as they save you from spending lots of time searching for content that might be of interest. Yes, this is definitely true. By having these algorithms, by having our social media platforms and other things that we use know what we like, it saves us time. We don't have to search out for the videos that we like. For example, a performer that you really like and they have a new song out, you won't have to look for it. It'll be right there for you to watch the video of or to watch a performance of, maybe even the day that it's released or something like that. So it saves you a lot of time. It's kind of like going into your favorite shop and having the shopkeeper know exactly the kind of product you like and pointing you straight to that, so you don't have to walk through the store looking at all the shelves, finding the things that would be of interest to you, that are interesting to you, the things that you like, the things that you want to watch. So that is definitely an advantage for the consumer, for us, the people watching. However, and there's always a however, there is a dark side to social media algorithms. So yes, it can be good for us. It can save us time and prevent us from having to search for things we might be looking for, things we might be interested in. But there's a dark side. There's a negative aspect to social media algorithms. And what is that, Roger?
Well, they can create something called echo chambers in which you're repeatedly exposed to similar viewpoints. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the word chamber. A chamber refers to some kind of room, and an echo chamber is a room in which you hear your voice or any kind of sound reverberating or vibrating from the walls back to you. So you hear those echo, echo, echo. You hear those echoes coming back to you. And yes, indeed, we're calling these algorithms like an echo chamber, okay? You are in that echo chamber and you're repeatedly exposed to similar viewpoints, okay? Here, the word expose means you come in contact with that thing. You're influenced by that thing. This, of course, reminds me of photography when I was studying photography, film photography. Of course, if you have a camera, you learn that when the shutter opens, the film will be exposed to light, and then you can make a picture out of that film that has been exposed to light. Nowadays, of course, the sensors are being exposed to that light and creating pictures that way. But then you'll be exposed to viewpoints that you're used to, and it will probably confirm your political beliefs. You'll never really know the other point of view.
Ah, interesting. Yes, this is definitely true about people who watch YouTube or other social media platforms like that for politics or for news as well, right? Because, of course, if you're watching a certain news channel all the time on your social media, you won't be getting other channels recommended to you, and along with other channels, other viewpoints. And a viewpoint is basically an opinion, right? We all have different opinions about things, especially political things or social things. So having different viewpoints, hearing from people who are unlike you, who might have different life experiences, who might look at an issue, gun control or abortion or women's rights or whatever it is, who might look at that from another point of view, is always helpful to give us a fuller picture of something. If we're always just hearing people who think the same thing, who have the same opinions, who reinforce our beliefs and our prejudices in some cases, that is kind of harmful to democracy, especially because democracy is often about compromise and listening to other people and giving up a little to get what you want, but allowing other people to have their opinion heard just as clearly and as loudly as yours. But unfortunately, with these echo chambers, we're all kind of listening to each other, and we're only listening to the people who agree with us. And then, of course, when we get out there in the real world and find that there are a lot of other people out there who strongly disagree with us, this can lead to conflict and all sorts of problems, many of which we are seeing in society today.
I wonder if algorithms can be programmed to give you kind of opposing content just to challenge yourself sometimes. Like, for example, if you are into politics and you like to support the Democrats in the USA, for example, and you constantly watch their videos, maybe someday the computer will suggest that you watch some commentary by conservative commentators just to get another point of view. Maybe they'll give you some feeds to some Ben Shapiro videos or things like that, and then you'll get a more rounded kind of picture. I'm not quite sure if algorithms do that quite yet, but it would be nice that they would do this automatically.
That'd be true, but I'm afraid a lot of people would just skip over those and get back to the videos that they want to watch, not the ones that challenge them. But yes, if you're right, if they could sort of stop the skip program. If you watch one video about a Democrat, then you have to watch one video about a Republican, kind of keep it balanced like that. But I guess the other problem is that we have to also then ensure that the people giving opinions on the videos are trustworthy and honest as well.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分提到，社群媒体演算法的目的是为了吸引你的注意力，这样你才不会离开该网站。文中用到 so that 接子句，可以表达如此一来，这样一来，以便怎么样，好让怎么样。so that 是用来引导表示目的的副词子句。那在口语当中 so that 的这个 that 是可以省略的。举例来说， John made sure to lock his bicycle so it wouldn't be stolen。 John 确认自己有把脚踏车上锁，这样车子才不会被偷走。那补充一下 so that 所引导的子句，当它的主词跟主要子句的主词相同时，我们可以把它改用 so as to 加原形动词表达，像是 We got there early so that we could get good seats， 也可以说 We got there early so as to get good seats。 为了占到好位置，我们提早到那里。好，那么课文下一句提到说，演算法对你也很有用，因为他们帮你省去花大量时间搜寻你可能感兴趣的内容。文中是用 save you from spending lots of time 来表达帮你省去花大量时间，使你免于花大量的时间的意思。好，那当我们用 save somebody or something from 加上名词或动名词，这可以表达使免于怎么样，或是拯救、挽救什么什么。举例来说，He risked his life to save a boy from drowning. 他冒着生命危险拯救一个男孩免于溺毙。好，那除了这个用法 from 也常常搭配一些动词使用。像第一个我们可以用 protect 加受词 from 加上名词或动名词，表达保护什么免于怎么样，保护什么不受点点点伤害。例如 She wore sunglasses to protect her eyes from the sun.他戴墨镜来保护眼睛不受阳光伤害。那第二个呢，我们可以补充的用法是 prevent 或是 keep 或是 stop 加受词 from 再加动词 ing， 这可以表达阻止某人怎么样，使某人无法做某事，或者是表达防止某事物怎么样怎么样。举例来说， The storm prevented them from traveling to the area。暴风雨使他们无法前往那个地区。再看个例句是 The government has taken measures to stop the disease from spreading。 政府已经采取措施阻止那个疾病扩散。好，另外补充一下 keep 还可以用 keep 受词 from 名词来表达，像 keep people from danger 就是表达防止人们遭遇危险。那注意，如果是 keep something from somebody， 这则是表达保密隐瞒，不让某人知道某事。举例来说， She kept the secret from her sister。 她不让姐姐知道那个秘密。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Essentially,Mr. Bernard is essentially a kind person, even if he seems strict at times. Calculation. A simple calculation can help you figure out how much money you will save. Input. If the inputs used are not correct, it could lead to serious errors in the final report. Output. When the program has finished running, you can save the output for later review. Chamber.The treasure was hidden in a secret chamber inside the castle. Expose. Traveling can expose you to different cultures and ways of thinking. Viewpoint. Terry's viewpoint on the subject changed when she learned more about it.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.